Don-O-Mite.
It was fun to channel surf. It was kind of hard to do a little pocket pool after you hitting the last channel button 50 times for 2 hours plus.
Don-O-Mite.
And his whole idea of overanalyzing, oh, he's an alcoholic and he misplaced the belt. And how could you have someone champion like that? The fuck out of here.
Wednesday night.
Don-O-Mite, you can have fun. You really are. Going on, everyone? No need for take two today. It is Wednesday night Don-O-Mite. Only the second episode ever to go on video. Let me tell you something. This was much harder than I ever expected it would be. I thought, hey, hit a couple of buttons, press record, look on the camera. No problem. What's going on? Keith Lee, the new NXT North American champion. I tell you, with the Undisputed Era all around ringside, you kind of felt clusterfuck. Maybe Imperium gets involved, and this kind of leads to maybe another couple of weeks, blah, 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 blah. Shout out to everybody listening live, by the way, and I hope that we don't have any technical issues. I did so much studying this past week. And I got to be honest with everybody, anybody that knows that's been following my weight loss, I've been on the keto diet for about 6 months now, 7 months. And I think because I ate so early today, I think my sugar level dropped. I'm not diabetic, but my hand's ice cold and sucks. But maybe all these lights that I have going on right now might warm me up a little bit. By the way, got several video clips to do tonight. Kind of going to test out a little bit of the picture-in-picture. And if we run into any issues with the live video stream tonight, have no fear. I have it recording in the background. Any technical problems tonight, I will upload it online. And as you can see, I had to wear the Judas shirt tonight. To have all of the fans on the ship, singing along to Chris Jericho's song. How could I not wear this tonight? Seriously. I mean, I was kind of debating because a lot of you said, because if anybody that doesn't know, when I wore last week the suit and the Gotti shirt and the sunglasses, that was my Don Tony character when I did some managing on the indie wrestling circuit, going back 14 years already. So it was a little bit retro, but a lot of you out there were saying you should wear that every single week. I just feel really goofy wearing sunglasses at night in my house. I mean, I know that's a famous 80s song, but, we compromise tonight. I got the jacket on, I have to wear the Judas shirt, and I got the glasses. You don't have to worry about this all night long. We're going to leave them on. And if anybody doesn't like the way I look, that's all I have to say. Best in the world. Sup, my friend? Strut that ass on camera. You know what? I had a feeling somebody was going to call me out on that tonight, and I have jeans on. I was prepared. Trust me. Whenever I do anything, I always try to be devil's advocate, and I always try to look a little bit ahead, and I said to myself, some son of a bitch out there is going to say, oh, you're not wearing pants tonight. What's up, Dells, Shedzy, everybody out there. By the way, if you're not aware of it already, this Friday, right after Smackdown, I'm going to do a live Q&A right here on YouTube, and I'm also going to do pay-per-view predictions for the Royal Rumble. And I have a couple of surprises in store as well, just, for the content of the show. If you would like to leave a question you'd like for me to answer, even if you can't tune in live, on this channel, YouTube.com/Don Tony. There is a clip up and a link. You could post your question there. The response has been amazing so far. Who would have ever thought almost 5,000 subscribers in 9 days? So much for people saying, what does he want to be, a middle-aged YouTube star? No. I want to look at you eye to eye. I want to get animated. I want to have some fun. I want to put a picture behind this personality I have. All of you have molded me over the years, and this is the next step. This is evolving. This is progressing. This is going further. And, let's enjoy the ride, right? And by the way, I said it earlier today, you know, I got the Brio, the Logitech Brio. I have the 922 as a backup in case another person ever wants to join me on video, not trying to pressure anybody. That's why I don't understand. You know, this is something that I hyped up for 6 months. This is something I needed to do. I needed to go further. Did not want to be the status quo. Back when and look, I swear this will only take 30 seconds because I know people don't want to hear this shit all the time, but I go back to 1997 doing wrestling hotlines, and in 2001, I had this idea that why don't I take my wrestling hotline that I did over the phone, record the audio, and put it on the internet for everybody to enjoy. In 2003, started doing some live stuff on the internet, which at the time we called a webcast, and, the rest is history. So every, so often I want to advance. I want to go to the next level. The next step, satellite TV. We'll see what happens. But anyway, like I said, we got a couple of video clips to share tonight as we go along in the show. I will definitely get into the Enzo Amore, Tama Tonga bullshit that just doesn't seem to want to end. We'll talk about Tessa Blanchard making that statement, saying that she's not a racist. We'll get into that a little bit later. Booker T's reaction as well. I have that up. And you know what? I actually do want to open up with this. Before we talk about AEW, before we talk about NXT, the news and other stuff going on, I apologize to everybody out there who may not have understood clearly why I was cracking jokes about Michael Nakazawa last week and making fun of the way he talks. And, anybody that follows New Japan, you already know this from about a year and a half ago. But, Michael Nakazawa, I can't stand the way that AEW has used him so far. Like someone had said in the comments on YouTube, and by the way, I read everybody's comments. I try to respond to everybody. This is always going to be totally interactive no matter what. I'll never forget anybody out there. But somebody said it's like Kenny from South Park. Who the fuck cares about Michael Nakazawa and AEW? AEW's done zero with character development for the guy. So why do we care if he keeps getting beat up? But they have a guy in Michael Nakazawa that I think not only maybe we'll see joins the Dark Order. That's the only scenario I think where this could actually work. But I'm going to give credit to this clip. This is CEO and New Japan Pro Wrestling from June of 2018. For anybody out there that never saw this clip with Michael Nakazawa, I don't know if AEW would have the balls to go this far with what he did in this skit, but when you listen to him, you see how animated he is, you'll understand, why I was cracking jokes about him last week. Some people are like, oh, you racist. You make fun of Nakazawa. You racist. No, it was a play on what he did a year and a half ago. But for anybody out there that's never seen this, sit back and enjoy. I want you to see a little bit of Michael Nakazawa and just picture if he did this in AEW.
The next match is an open challenge. Introducing, from Kawasaki, Kanagawa, Japan, weighing in at 198 pounds, Michael Nakazawa.
Trust me when I tell you, you will enjoy this tremendously if you've never seen it.
The knack is here.
Now, I'm a little confused as to why we would have an open challenge here. Seems a little ambitious, don't you think?
I mean, he's friends with Kenny.
Shout out to Dustin Whaley. What's up, my friend?
Fair enough.
He told
Stop the music! Stop the music!
Stop the music! The music! Stop the music!
I'm sorry, I'm not here to help the show. Just in case you don't know who I am. My name is Michael Nakazawa. I am from Japan. I'm here to show you one thing. Just by being Japanese, Japanese people are better than you American people.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think he's got a point.
Uncalled for.
Silence!
We're from the fighting game community.
We know your levels of weeb, Logan, all right? You don't got to bring the people at home your levels of weeb, all right?
Hey, I said the people, not the cartoons.
Well, the crowd's definitely not liking that
I said silence, please.
Show this man some respect. You know where he comes from, what he's done.
I speak English, but none of you understands my language. I'm speaking English for you. Are you happy now?
I don't think they really care.
Ignorant Americans, man.
You know, all the Japanese gamers, they are far better than you American gamers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a low blow, bro. They don't know who Sonic Fox and Hook Gang God are?
Same thing can be said to the wrestlers.
Oh.
Japanese wrestlers are better than American wrestlers.
Not wrong there either.
That's why I made my match an open challenge match, in which any of you American people can challenge me. Who wants to do it? Who wants to do it?
Seems like everyone here at the Ocean Center definitely wanted to answer that challenge.
If there's anybody there, come to the ring right here, right now.
I mean, the average gamer is definitely not going to present any sort of challenge for this man. 300-pound overweight burger munching Americans, pencil-necked geeks.
I feel like
look at the shoulders on this man.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Who's this young boy?
There was somebody.
Well, let's go.
Wow, he looked like he went 0-2 today.
He's too big for AEW.
You got me with that one.
The wounds are still very fresh for a lot of people here, CEO. Okay. Crowd definitely wondering what we're all wondering at this point. Who, in fact, is this young man who's made his way to the ring?
What you doing here, skinny boy? I mean, have you trained at all? Have you been to a gym? Have you lifted weights? I mean, okay. I can take your challenge because I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy, so I'm going to have a time so you can introduce yourself. Please do so. My name is...
Oh, that's just uncalled for. He was completely defenseless.
No one cares what his name is. Get this young boy out the ring.
Completely defenseless. We need someone out there. One of the officials perhaps can get out there and...
I mean, he should really be paying Nak for breaking him in.
My man just got that varsity jacket.
This is the start of the first match. Ring the bell. Come on, referee.
Watch what he does.
All right, well, I guess this is the first match here, but I mean, come on, Logan, this is not very fair
we
at
know
all.
that people come to Florida to learn how to wrestle, so
oh, that was good, Dave.
And
he's getting some free wrestling lessons right now.
Oh my goodness!
Flipping
Absolutely
spear.
Brutal. Probably would have wanted to eat a couple burgers if you
Folded him up like a cheap suit, not unlike that jacket you're wearing today, I think.
Thank you. Thought you were going to go for the jacket. I felt bad, but I definitely feel bad for him right there. And this skinny boy, unfortunately for him, that is going to be... Oh, wait a minute, a kick out at 2. I thought this was all but done.
Had to put a little bit more effort into the cover.
What is going on here?
What?
What is
he reaching for?
I'm just all manners of confusion.
Oh, wow.
This is just...
Teabagging's not something that only happens in fighting games, it appears.
This is troubling.
Straight out of the Derek Zoolander playbook? Are you serious?
Man.
How
Is
did
that
he?
a thong?
I mean, he should be able to smell that coming. Oh, no. That is just disrespectful.
Oh, you had to tap something like that. How did he get those off while still keeping his trunks on?
That is impressive.
Do you know about that, Logan? Is that a Japanese secret technique? How do you do that?
No.
I could barely put my underwear on.
Do you think he bought those out of a vending machine before he came here?
I don't think so. He was wearing
They
them.
don't look good. I mean, they look pretty floral.
Oh,
yeah.
No one wants that.
I think your wife caught those.
No one wants that.
Well, I tell you what, if she did, we're going to burn that because that is that. I think we might get flagged down by the TSA if we try and fly out with that.
You can't get that one through customs.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Well, at least it was thrown back.
They threw it back.
Oh, you didn't like my gift?
Typical Americans. They got no
Now you see
gratitude.
it. You know, I'm better than any American wrestlers. I am going to keep beating you up until there is nobody in this arena.
What?
I mean, we have a show to get
Or
to.
until I have no more underwear.
He's got multiple pairs of underwear on?
Now, tell me that guy couldn't become like a big-time star in AEW like that to cut a promo like this. Especially, I don't get that. Instead, we have him getting the shit knocked out of him, and nobody gives a shit about him in AEW. And by the way, for some of you out there that were a little offended that he took those underwears, you do realize that tonight on AEW and NXT, we had a woman debut who shoved a bloody tampon in a woman's mouth during a wrestling match about a little over a year ago. And we had a woman debut tonight in a match on NXT who was selling pictures of her shit, her excrement, for $5 a pop online. So, yeah, you know, people do some, and look, let's be clear. For anybody that doesn't listen to my shows on a regular basis, you know, I defended both in the past. Taking pictures of your shit, I think, is a little bit more over the top, but, you know, the tampon thing was fake. It wasn't real blood. I know it's disgusting, and I know it's appalling. What's up, Flaccid Corpse? But that's what we got tonight. I think Michael Nakazawa, look, as many of you last week that got upset for me why I cracked the jokes that I did, you know, maybe I should have aired this last week, but honestly, I wasn't like set to like do like little video clips and shit like that. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this son of a bitch turns heel, joins Dakota, and that's spelled Dakota. I think that's somebody's daughter, right? Dakota. He's I joined Dakota. By the way, I know we had the Dark Order with all that shit that went down a couple of weeks ago, but if you look at AEW's TV on a regular basis, how the fuck do you just like take them off TV like this? You know, we had Joey Janela get, you know, punched in the balls a couple of weeks ago and virtually nothing. They have some storylines that they try to put on TV and then nothing for weeks at a time. And I think that's a problem with AEW. However, I will tell you tonight, I enjoyed AEW's show a lot more than I did NXT. Yes, the NXT main event was my highlight of the night, but you can see clearly that as far as Wednesday night television goes, the biggest draw as far as fans go is the Moxley-Jericho feud. You look at NXT, with all due respect, I have nothing against the grizzled young veterans, but I don't give a shit about them. To me, they're talented, but when you see this much wrestling in a week, when you see NWA, when you see MLW, when you see Ring of Honor, and you see New Japan, and you see NXT, and you see WWE, and you see AEW, and I know I'm leaving some companies out, Impact Wrestling, you know, you get those guys, oh my God, stop what I'm doing. Grizzled young veterans are on. Sorry. Just the Jericho-Moxley feud is the eye catcher right now. And we saw tonight that Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega are now your new tag champs, and they will ultimately probably pass it to the Young Bucks. And, you know, the Omega Page split, a lot of people, you know, are now starting to see that this is going to happen. I think I talked about this like 3 weeks ago, maybe more. But there's no rush. I even think I said last week, they win today. They have, you know, he has a nice cold brewski with the fans. And by the way, I hope everybody who went on the cruise had a blast, and it's not over yet. But I talked about this last week. It really pissed me off to see people online making fun of fans that were going on this cruise ship. The one comment that I saw repeatedly over and over and over and over again, you know, there's going to be no girls on the cruise. It's going to be a sausage fest. It's going to be a geek convention. It's that, you know, it amazes me. And this is something that I've noticed online for a very long time, but this Jericho cruise really pissed me off. That there is a bunch of people online that must have such miserable lives outside of Twitter. And instead of just being happy for people who just want to have fun, people want to go on the cruise, fine. I saw people, oh, there's going to be no girls. You know, this is 2020. You know, there is homosexuality, there is bisexual, there is heterosexual. Why is it automatically that every person on the cruise is straight? You know, why is it that, you know, because somebody goes to an event that they're looking to, man, that's so fucked up. But Jason Solomonster is on the cruise. I saw tonight he was having a nice porterhouse steak. Jason, I hope you enjoyed it. While you were eating that steak on the Jericho cruise, there were a lot of geeks at home probably having microwave sausage, playing with their sausage, I might add. Jealousy, man. I'll tell you, I'll say this now, and I know because I say this, we'll have some people out there that will go dislike, 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 dislike. But I've noticed this. I've noticed this 3 times in a row. The minute I hype up online, whether it's the live Q&A, going live tonight, going live last week, within 5 minutes of posting it, there is somebody out there that I'm pretty certain is a podcaster who immediately goes on my YouTube page and clicks dislike, 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 making jokes. I just don't get it. I don't understand why people out there can't just let people have fun. All those people on the Jericho cruise, you know, I saw that tonight. You know what it gave me flashbacks of? Panama City, Florida. I know we all think of the last Nitro, March 26, 2001, and why I always remember that date, you know, March 27th is my birthday. So, yeah, I'm celebrating the right before my birthday, and Nitro goes off the air. Go figure. But I put up an example tonight. Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Ric Flair on, I think, WCW. It might have been Nitro. And they threw Ric Flair in the pool. As soon as I saw AEW open up tonight, my immediate flashback was all of those events that WCW did outdoors in Panama City, Florida. It wasn't just the last Nitro. You look at some of those setups, you look up today, very, very similar. Very, very windy, I might add, on the cruise ship tonight. Well, this past week. And I got to give props to AEW because they had some technical issues. Justin Wally, Supp, my friend. No, you know, I'll say this bluntly. I don't think Kev Castle is the one who disliked it. Kev is actually, and you know, I want to throw this out there very quickly because you'll hear me repeat it Friday and you'll hear me repeat it Monday, and then we're going to just leave it alone for a while. But, you know, I hyped this up 6 months ago. It took me 6 months to gut this place, to install everything I needed to install, to get into the mindset of wanting to do video, to figure out how I was going to do this, and not only that, try to fit it in my schedule, but also prepare up here. It took me about 6 months to get this going. So, you know, I did not do this to force anybody else to do it too. This channel is mine. This is for me to go to the next level. I don't think I should ever hold myself back because other people don't want to do the same thing. On the flip side, though, I don't want anybody to ever feel that they need to do the same thing that I do. So when I told everybody that, going forward, Kev is going to be audio only and I'm going to be video. I know for some of you out there, you're going to say, oh, that looks kind of stupid. But Kev right now is where I was 6-7 months ago. So we agreed that, give him 6 months to think about it. If he decides he wants to do it, it gives him time to prepare, gives him time to get to learn, understand, and also be confident. Because I've said it point blank, I dropped 60 pounds since last March. And I guarantee you that if I was still 60 pounds heavy, I don't know if I would be doing this right now. I thought that I needed to look better on camera. I didn't lose the weight because of this, but it definitely helped a little bit. So I thank you, W. I know I don't need any other host, to do this. But the idea is that I don't want every week to have to keep bringing this up over and over and over again. But so we'll see in June. We'll revisit it. We'll see if he wants to do it. And if he doesn't want to do it, it's not a step down. It's just, we're on two different paths. And his path is fine. And my path should also be fine. But it's amazing. Some people out there that just are bitter that I did this. It's like, I'm not doing this to screw anybody over. I'm doing this so all of you can enjoy it and I can enjoy this too. This is a fucking challenge. And plus you'll see little things tweaked. And when I mingle with you all on YouTube and I tell some of you out there, I'm going to make a concerted effort to try this, to change this, to do this. I don't blow smoke. I'm really listening to all of you out there. This show will mold and progress and things will get tweaked. And case in point, tonight, when I talk about NXT and AEW, I'm not going to spend an hour doing a TV review. I'm just going to get into a couple of things that crossed my mind. And then we'll get into news and everything else. By the way, I will get a good chuckle out of this. Brandi Rhodes last week said that she wasn't going to be on the Jericho cruise because somebody stole her passport. And, it's funny. I'm not going to name any other people in wrestling. I think you could fill in the blank because one person in particular comes to mind who I had a feud with last year. A little feud for a couple of days, but I think everybody hands down said I won the argument. Why the fuck, when people lose things, why is it always somebody stole it? Somebody stole it. I left my purse on the top of my car and then somebody picks it up. You fucking left it on your car. Oh, I can't find my passport. Somebody must have stole it. Why is it that whenever somebody misplaces something, oh shit, I left my fucking cell phone on the top of my car? Why is it that it's always somebody stole it, somebody stole it, somebody stole it? The truth is, and this is props to Brandi Rhodes, she actually was the keynote speaker today at the NATPE in Miami, Florida. And for those that don't know what that is, that's a National Association of Television Program Executives. I guess I'm reading it off my computer. She was the keynote speaker today. So for everybody out there that thought, oh, she really did lose her passport and that's why she's going to, this was fucking planned. I even think maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had reported on the news that she was going to be the keynote speaker. And some people actually made fun of her. Shout out to Justin Whaley. Thank you for the kind words, my friend. I appreciate that. And DX Girl, happy birthday in 9 days. So remind me in 9 days so I can shout you. You know what, speaking of birthdays out there, I'm sorry if this might annoy some of you out there. Anybody wants this, obviously I can't do it for everybody. Otherwise, we'll be doing this 10, 15 times a week. But I got to give a special shout out to my friend Timothy Place. I'm not going to lie to you, Timothy. I was going to do the whole, it's your birthday today, Timothy. But I didn't have the video queued up. So happy birthday, my friend. 35 years old. I wish I was 35 again. But, so that's the deal with Brandi Rhodes. So she was the keynote speaker today. It wasn't that she was going to be on the cruise and then just swim back to Miami or get a helicopter, the concopter to pick her up from the cruise ship and take her to Miami midway through. No, she was the keynote speaker. She was never supposed to be on the cruise. And, but everybody out there will think, oh my God, no, she really didn't. You never did that. Speaking of Tony Khan, there's a lot of reports going around that at the close of 2019 that he decided he was going to take a more hands-on approach and really emphasize some of the things they needed to change on TV. And if that's the case, props to him. I know that they're really trying hard. You could see that there's some things that'll never change. Case in point, maybe you won't see it as much as we did in the past, but the Game Genie rules will always be there. When we had the Jurassic Express versus Jericho, and by the way, didn't I say a month ago, get rid of the proud and the Puerto Rican or the proud and the powerful name? You know, just call him Santana and Ortiz. They're doing it. Didn't I say 5-6 weeks ago, hire Taz. We need an antagonist on commentary. Put Shivani in interview segments. You know, Jim Ross, I know a lot of people are really critical of Jim Ross's commentary. He keeps fluttering this, he keeps sputtering this, he keeps doing this. Son of a bitch could still do it. Maybe not as good as yesteryear. And when people out there today, the biggest fucking hard-on that they had tonight was, oh my God, he said sweet chin music. Oh my God, he's going to get fired. The fucking guy is a legend. The guy is still doing it. The guy loves wrestling. Of course, he's getting paid nicely, but, you know, for personal reasons too. You know, we know the tragedy he's experienced, and I'm not, you know, a Jim Ross, you know, dick sucker. I appreciate the fucking guy's work, but I've been saying for the longest time, hire Taz, hire Taz, hire Taz. Guy, you know, might not be the most, you know, likable announcer to a lot of you out there. Him with Michael Cole is always my favorite duo as far as Taz goes, but they signed him to a multi-year deal. I love it. I don't know if it's going to be just AEW Dark. Again, I seriously feel put him on Wednesday night. Shivani does Georgia Bulldog. Shivani could still do it from time to time. Shivani, I think, is better suited for interview segments. And by the way, speaking of interview segment, Shit Baker, Dr. Shit Baker, Green MD, teasing a heel turn today. I have no problem with it, believe it or not, everybody. She's not that very good in the ring. That doesn't mean she can't improve. I have nothing against her personally, but, you know, I originally call her Britt Bella because she reminds me of a Bella. I always was calling her Britt Bella until somebody said to me, yeah, she does wrestle like shit. And I was like, wait, okay, we're going to call her Dr. Shit Baker with 2 T's. And today they teased a heel turn. Now, it was really odd. Dave Anthony, what's up, my friend? Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, it's really funny. You know, she has a match. And by the way, you know, again, as I said earlier today, you know, we had 2 women who did some questionable things in the past. One is Priscilla Kelly, Britt Baker's opponent tonight. Now, some of you may not have realized that she was the tampon chick because her hair was dark brown or black at the time. But I think she might have even been in the Mae Young Classic. But Priscilla Kelly, she wrestled Britt Baker today. And yes, somebody's asking, she is the one that took the tampon out of her crotch in December of 2018, shoved it in Tuna's mouth, whatever the fucking name, not Tuna Meltzer, but Tuna's mouth, and got a whole lot of controversy. It wasn't real blood. I know it's all over the top, but yeah, that's the same person who debuted today. But she has the match with Shit Baker. And after the match is over, Shivani comes to the ring and, you know, gets a little sarcastic with Shit Baker, you know, oh, you know, it's questionable finishing you. And it's like, this is a segment, in my honest opinion, that they should have looked back and said, you know what, let's not air it. Let's do it again next week. Kappa the Great, thank you, my friend. Member of the Patreon posse, I might add. And by the way, if any of you out there want to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Don Tony. Got a lot of bonus shows over there that are Patreon exclusive. I don't know if Mish and I will be on tomorrow for Breakfast Soup because for those that don't know, Mish of Wrestling Soup, he moved to Philly, starting a new life. It's probably the best way for me to put it. And he landed in Philly on Monday. He was having all of his belongings and equipment shipped to him. So it's going to take a little bit to set up. We are, and Dave Anthony, I'm his favorite goofy YouTuber. I don't mind being goofy. I never ever thought that I could be goofy like this. I always thought people would just really like shit on me, but I was like, you know what? Who cares, man? I don't give a shit. You want to drink fucking bleach right now? And it's funny because a podcast, I won't mention his name. He's like, dude, if you do ridiculously outrageous things on that, people will, pay you to eat shit. And so, are you crazy? I mean, I want to have fun, but I'm not going to fucking do that. But I'll have a shot of Perrier, though. But anyway, Shit Baker is in the ring, and you think that AEW would say, you know what? It's almost like the scene in Goodfellas. Remember when Robert De Niro was going to kill Maury, and they're playing cards, and Maury is joking with Ray Liotta, and he's like, not tonight, not tonight. He ends up fucking... killing him, shoving the fucking spike in his throat anyway. But, somebody in AEW, Godfather Khan should have been in the back looking at Ray Liotta and said, not tonight, not tonight. Do the fucking Shit Baker thing next week. That was god-awful. It's like a fucking robot. If Tony Schiavone would have said, it's windy tonight, what do you think, Britt? Weather, it's beautiful on the ship. Oh, you worked at Starbucks. You were this, I'm reading off a cue card. I am blah, blah, blah. I am this and that. It was god-awful. When Shivani said, without hearing it, what the fuck? I was like, this is fucking god-awful. You would think that they would try to improve Dr. Shit Baker's wrestling capability in the ring before they try to start doing the character development. That's about in-ring development first. But I have no problem to have Shit Baker being a heel right now, because what happens with heels? They're slow. Some people will say methodical. She could choke. She could rape people. She could just, choke people and low blow. And she doesn't have to be Flipposaurus. She's doing all this fucking stuff. It looks god-awful in the ring. Now she could just walk around slow and punch somebody and slap somebody. So that's what a lot of heels do. They turn heel and they become fucking, almost like vegetables in the ring. So that might be the best thing for her right now. And I got news for you. Just because I said Shit Baker, and I think I was the original person that said the inner circle jerks, I think that'll catch on. I think people will start calling her Shit Baker. But, man, that was god-awful. I mean, you can't... This is what it felt like when I saw that today. It felt like that AEW didn't have the guts to come up to her and say, you know what, we're not going to air it, but we'll do it again next week. You'll do something else questionable in the ring. And maybe we'll wait 2 extra weeks. And Tony Schiavone could then go in the ring and say, Britt, not for nothing, but the last couple of weeks, it seems like you're taking shortcuts. This way it kind of catches on with fans. When you see Shit Baker coming out and she's slapping everybody's hands, oh, nice to meet you. Oh, you need a dentist. I mean, build it for a couple of weeks. Like I said, Tony Schiavone could have said, hey, what'd you think about that salmon tonight? It was really good, but a little spicy. You worked at Starbucks. You were a shit barista. Bop, 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 bop. Segment sucked. Adam DeMoy, what's up, man? Never wear another Fat Jericho shirt. If I was wearing... another shirt underneath, I would do the Hogan thing and tear it up right now. Justin Whaley, what's up, my friend, again? Thank you. Appreciate that. When I said earlier that the Game Genie rules are not going to go away, I don't mind a little bit of Game Genie rules. What I don't like, and yes, it might be a little bit nitpicking, but you go watch the match tonight. Again, you'll see what I'm talking about. Every time we got Game Genie rules, the referee looks like they're having some type of a seizure, or they're doing their best impersonation of Home Alone. Look at Aubrey Edwards tonight. When you had 9021 0-10 in the ring and, Marco Runt, when those two are in the ring and they're double teaming and doing all this flippy stuff and everything, if you look at her, she's like this with lipstick. Do I need to take the glass off for a better effect? Or maybe it does this. And then after they execute the moves, she's like, no. I think that's ridiculous. They do it all the time. The referee's just like watching, and then they do the moves, and then no. It's like someone who's a pussy towards their pet, and the pet will destroy like a stuffed animal, will take a shit all over the couch and everything, and then we'll sit there and watch, oh, look how cute. Then after the pet takes the dump, no, stop that. No, don't bite that after it's totally destroyed. Look how cute he looks, ripping up my prized plush animal. No. Anyway, so that was the only thing, I really had an issue with today. By the way, we had MJF and they threw him in the pool, and, Cody can't obviously touch him. You could see it. I think I said it the night they did the stipulations. Cody is going to fight Wardlow in a cage. After he fights Wardlow, he's going to get probably handcuffed to the rope, and he's going to get the shit knocked out of him, probably bleeding too for the extra effect. And that's going to get Cody with this feud with MJF even more over. Joey Janela, he looked fine in the ring today. Is it just me? It looks like Joey Janela may have lost a little bit extra weight. You know what, Justin? I don't think Aubrey Edwards is that cringe. When they first debuted AEW and they were trying to do this women's empowerment, with the referee stuff and everything, it felt a little bit too over the top. But I also realized that was AEW's decision. That wasn't her going into business for herself and trying to be part of the show. Aubrey Edwards actually is not bad at what she does. And she also is very, very smart, and she works in the office with AEW too. So I really can't shit on her. They're not as sloppy as you think. This is just the direction of AEW. So I really can't rip her, and this is not me becoming soft. This is me just telling you my opinion. Everything that I say, for the most part, is opinion. And my opinion, I can't falter all that much. This is AEW's decision. And, you got to understand like this, too. When you see all the fans going crazy and enjoying these Game Genie rules, I mean, you'd be nuts to go in the back and say, the referee's going to have obviously you got to tighten it up a little bit. And they have tightened it up over the last couple of weeks. I love the fact that they had the no DQ for the number one contendership last week. I thought that was awesome because I've been saying if you want to do Game Genie rules, just make it no DQ. That's it. Argument solved. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, Moxley and PAC today, and I said I was going to share with you a lot of video clips tonight that I think you'll enjoy. This one is much shorter than the one that I streamed earlier, but this is something that you probably did not even know took place. Again, this is another example of AEW, I think, relying on social media a little bit too much. And yes, I will talk about a little bit further with the TV deal. We talked about it last week, but something I want to add to it tonight. But you probably don't even know that this aired online today. And yeah, he lost the number one contender spot. We all knew that. We knew it was going to be Moxley versus Jericho. It's popping a rating for AEW over NXT. So of course they're going to go with this, and it's going to be milked for another month. But you may not have even seen this. For those that aren't aware of it, this is what AEW put online earlier today.
It seems everyone has their own little narrative on the bastard. Unprofessional, unreliable, inappropriate, violent, grotesque, and even disturbed. Frankly, I've never been so flattered. But maybe the real question you should be asking is why? You see, I sold my soul to the devil once before, and it broke me. And I'll be damned if I let that happen again. 16 years experience. I am well versed and excel in every discipline in professional wrestling. I have competed in over 30 countries, held championships in over 20 across 5 continents, everywhere from Madagascar to Alaska and every little shithole in between. I have set unbreakable records in countless promotions. I beat the best in the world with 10 days notice, and I sent the cowboy packing to the knacker's yard to be with his dead horse. Someone. Anyone, please explain to me why here in AEW I sit back and I watch countless undeserving individuals receive all the opportunities. And they said that wins and losses wouldn't matter if you continue to stifle my progress. I'm gonna hurt the lot of you. Because you see, I am, without a shadow of a doubt, the very best in this company by a country mile. And if there is anybody who would like to dispute that, anybody dare deny me, please come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Cause I'm like a honey badger, mate, and I'll gnaw your bastard face off. And to everyone else sitting, watching at home, well, I advise that you view with discretion, because unless I get the respect that I deserve, well, I'm gonna do some despicable things to all of your favorites.
You know, I don't know when their second show is going to debut on TV, but, you know, how do you leave gems like, remember the promo that MJF cut that was put on Twitter? That was so awesome. They never aired it on TV. I mean, things like this, they cannot assume that every person, I know everybody knows who PAC is. They remember him from Neville and everything like that. But man, shit like that belongs on television. Take the shit Baker segment off TV. Put that on earlier. That should have been on in hour 1 to hype up PAC versus Moxley later on. Moxley, they didn't do a recorded promo beforehand, or they didn't do what they wanted to do. That's AEW's fault. There is no fucking reason why that couldn't have aired today on TV. It wasn't a long segment. It was 2.5 minutes long. Anyway, so yeah, that was online. But, you know, I don't know if you all noticed, but an executive from TNT said that AEW Dark was going to be moving to TNT, and they're going to tweak some things, obviously. But if you remember what I said when they announced this, that they were going to have a second show, put AEW Dark on television, maybe have it on a Saturday night, 5, 6 p.m. at night, have all the young up-and-coming stars appearing, and you have one match that is the draw for everybody, the main event, and you have that one draw. And it doesn't need the Papa rating, but at least you got to, and this is what people need to understand too. I think a lot of people don't think about this enough, and this is very, very important. Anybody that goes back with me a long ways knows that I used to make fun of Dixie Carter when she used to say to everybody, oh, you gotta DVR this, and you gotta do this because of that, and this, and this. And it was just so moronic because what she was saying was totally wrong. You know, live advertising, TNT, primetime, that's where the money is. But they air AEW Dynamite numerous times during the week. They air it on the weekend. You could watch it, I think, in demand. Over the weekend last week, I was flipping the channels like 4 or 5 in the afternoon on a Saturday, and Dynamite was on the air. So just because they do maybe a Saturday night at 5 or 6 o'clock at night doesn't mean that AEW Dark is not going to air again at 3 o'clock in the morning, on Sunday afternoon, on Monday afternoon, on Tuesday morning. Maybe sometimes they'll air it before Dynamite starts. So it's not, 6 o'clock at night, nobody's around. Oh, the rating got a 0.008. People will watch it. People will DVR it. You could still have stuff online. So believe me when I tell you, the idea of having AEW Dark on TNT, or it's got to be TNT in my opinion. You don't want fans to think, oh, TNT, or maybe it's TBS, or maybe it's True TV, or maybe it's it. Just leave it on one fucking network. I mean, this isn't back in the 90s or the 2000s where everybody was clamoring for all this prime time stuff. They got bullshit on a lot of nights. So, and by the way, for those that aren't aware of it, I don't know. This is going to apparently take place on the ship, but we don't know if it's going to be like a dark match. I don't think it's going to be next week, because next week, from what I understand, you have SCU taking on the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. That may be a dark match next week. Also next week, it looks like it's going to be QT Marshall versus Kip Sabian. So the reason why I say that is because AEW announced they're going to have their first ever mixed tag team match. It's going to be Kenny Omega teaming up with Rio versus Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. Now, I didn't know that Rio was on the cruise, to be honest with you. So when I heard that and saying that, you know, it was going to be on the Rager at Sea, I'm like, I don't remember. And by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Ames, he's listening right now. It's 4:09 a.m. I'm not lying to you. I don't even think I would be up at 4:09 a.m. to whack off. Seriously. I might wake up to take a leak or to maybe get a drink of water, but there's nothing media-wise that I think I would ever stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning for. So believe me when I say this, I'm not pandering to you in any way, shape, or form, but when I read shit like that, it's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and you're listening to me live, I mean, that's like heroin for me. I mean, haters really get me going even further, because I've said to a lot of people, and I talked about it on Friday on Patreon, that, you know, for the people out there that are shitting on me for doing this, or haters out there, the ultimate revenge for me is success. The ultimate revenge is all of you liking what I'm doing. That's the ultimate revenge that all of you out there can give to people online. You're on the fucking cruise ship, and people are making fun of you, saying, oh, he looks like a goof with a belt. You know what? You're on the cruise ship, and that person is home on a fucking computer tweeting. Enjoy yourself, post pictures, tell stories, let everybody know how great of a time that you had, and that is the ultimate revenge you could give to anybody out there. But if there's any runner-up, people staying up that late to see me do this, it's humbling. It's humbling you can't believe, and I swear to you, I don't say this stuff to pander. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And, you know, thank you. Seriously, thank you. But anyway, you know, just to wrap up a little bit, like I said, with the AEW, and we'll move on. You know, we had MJF wrestling Joey Janela. I was going to mention this earlier. Joey Janela looks like he may have lost a couple of pounds. You know, MJF doing, the same jokes, you know, similar to what Cornette says about Janela. Janela is not that bad. I mean, I don't know why people are so hard on the guy. He's not bad. And by the way, for those that are on the Northeast that are into GCW, or maybe you've never been to a GCW event and you're thinking about going, they're having an event February 15th in Atlantic City, I think at the Showboat. And I have been invited to go. And I am actually going to look into taking my girl for Valentine's Day weekend and going to GCW as well. So if anybody listening out there, Pecker Decker, what's up? Listening right now from London Village. Thank you, Pecker. Pecker Decker. I like that name. But yeah, Botch Club, I'll definitely check out, on Twitter later on. By the way, I apologize to everybody who sent me private messages on Twitter. I opened up my DMs to everybody. And even those that I don't follow on Twitter. I never saw in the top left-hand corner before, like, unapproved messages, like people that you don't follow, you have to approve it before you could see it. I happened to look in the top left-hand corner today, and I see in red 82. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I thought it was notifications. I click on it, and I see message. I'm like, holy shit. And I saw them there going back to like 2 years and never realized that before. I swear to God. So, but Game Changer Wrestling, February 15th. Joey Janela is going to take on Jordan Oliver. Shalak Colon and Sasaki Effie Sasaki Effie versus Shlak Cologne and Deppen. And there's going to be other matches announced as well. It's going to be live on Fight TV. So if any of you out there that are planning on going to that event, let me know, because there's a very good chance that I'm going to be going. But getting back to what I was saying before, if Omega's going to challenge Kip Sabian, and it's going to be a mixed tag of Omega and Rio versus Sabian and Penelope Ford, I think that may air in 2 weeks, because it doesn't make sense to have Omega and the Young Bucks team up against SCU in AEW Dark and then have Omega wrestling again with Rio. This is probably going to get spread out over 2 weeks, if you ask me. George Belmont, shout out, my friend. And, I said this last week. I want to say it again. My apologies for anybody else who's doing a show live right now on YouTube. In no way, shape, or form am I doing this to step on anybody's toes. This is episode 18 or 19 of Wednesday Night Dynamite. I've been doing this live since 3 weeks before AEW even debuted. So something tells me that my Wednesday night show probably was airing live before anybody else's out there. But I swear to you, we could all, share the love. Not doing this because some last week were saying, oh my God, he already outdrew this show, that. It's not about that. If you all like what I'm doing, that's the ultimate appreciation. But it does feel nice when you get that many people tuning in, I must admit. So anyway, next week for AEW, we have The Butcher and the Blade versus the Young Bucks. I wonder how that's going to end up. Private Party teaming up with Darby Allin versus Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz. Kip Sabian versus Cody. And, we'll see what other matches they announce next week as well. The Moxley PAC main event, it was okay. If anybody read the news online, there was a couple of moments in the match that people found really, really awkward. There was one point where they were just standing outside the ring talking for multiple minutes. Originally, when PAC came out, they played Moxley's entrance by mistake. I think that's why they spliced in when Jericho put on the headset, and he was with, I think it was Excalibur and Jim Ross. So, look, shit happens. I think people focusing on that is a little bit unfair. This is still a new promotion. Of course, they have experienced people behind the scenes, but let's be honest. You look at the audio, you look at a lot of things that they have worked on since week one. AEW definitely production-wise has stepped it up a little bit. And look, even me, I'm not trying to compare me to them, but before I did that purposely just now, by the way. I was just saying, before I was talking and nobody could hear a fucking thing I was saying. But, the match was okay. It was just very expected. We knew Moxley was going to be taking on Jericho. Plus, since the event was not live, most of us had seen the spoilers already. I mean, even though I knew the spoilers, I just wanted to see how it played off on TV. But, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it more than NXT, even though the NXT main event is my favorite match of the night. But anyway, to get into NXT briefly, the big hype tonight was obviously Roderick Strong versus Keith Lee for the NXT North American title. Also, you had two semifinal matches for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It was going to be Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne versus Imperium, and the Undisputed Era versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, and the winner of those two matches would go on to the final. We don't know when the final will actually take place as of yet, but the opening match tonight was Undisputed Era losing to the Grizzled Young Veterans thanks to the members of Imperium. I'll be honest with you, I'm really, really happy, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but I'm really happy that the Imperium did not come out, not saying to help Keith Lee, but I'm glad that they did not come out and cause a distraction. Because I wanted Keith Lee, if he was going to get this victory, I wanted it to be pinned in the middle of the ring with no asterisk to it. Shout out to Andre Photography TV. And, yeah, man, I'll definitely, I welcome any help whatsoever. But, look, as far as editing video and stuff like that, I obviously have to get used to it myself in time, I think, as it comes along. But I'll definitely keep you in mind. Absolutely. And plus, this is brand new. So I think I'm allowed to get a little faux pas here and there. But, James Drake and Zach Gibson, they're talented. But I'm just not feeling it with them. Again, when you have this much wrestling that you follow every week, and I try to follow everything, Drake and Gibson are probably not even in my top 100 of wrestlers that I would want to see. They're talented, absolutely. But, as far as having me be drawn to their match and just watching it and just looking at it and I just couldn't get into it. Imperium's entrance played. They were standing by the commentary table. Drake and Gibson, hit their move on Kyle O'Reilly, to get the win, and they advanced to the finals. It was a great match. I'm not knocking it, but, sorry. I mean, AEW had the tag titles on the line, and I found myself watching AEW more than this match. I mean, I watched both at the same time, but I had more investment in the AEW tag title match. So next match was Io Shirai versus Toni Storm. Some people online said that it went to a no contest, but I think the official decision is that Toni Storm wins by DQ because we had Bianca Belair get involved, which this led to Rhea Ripley as well. Toni Storm is getting the title shot, and I will get into the card for NXT's upcoming event, Worlds Collide. But, by having this end the way it did, you don't lose any stock in Io Shirai. Doesn't hurt or gain anything for Toni Storm. Interesting how the crowd is reacting to Toni Storm. I don't know if WWE expect. And by the way, I need to say this as well. Everybody keeps talking about Toni Storm's ass. Especially when you see creepy older men do it. And I'm not talking about 40 and 50-year-olds. I'm talking about 60 and 70-year-olds. I wonder with Priscilla Kelly tonight. I'm waiting for all the creeps. The creepy. But you've never seen a chunky ass in tights before? I mean, what's ridiculous about this? And I'm going to say, and I think a lot of you out there are probably going to agree with me, even though you didn't think of it this way. Do you find it weird? Do you find it weird when you see all these men online, almost having an orgasm over Toni Storm's ass, but said nothing about Rob Van Dam's girlfriend and his girlfriend's girlfriend being totally bare ass on Impact? I mean, just think about that for a minute. You have two fully bared asses on TV, and they say nothing. But Toni Storm, with a little bit of flesh hanging out on each side, I don't know, man. I don't know, but anyway. So Io Shirai, Toni Storm, I don't know if this is going to set up a four-way down the line, but you kind of almost feel like maybe we'll see eventually Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, Toni Storm. Not saying it's going to happen, but, the match was fine. I had no issues with it, and I had no problem with the decision either. We had Joaquin Wilde, who some of you out there may not realize that is the former DJZ from Impact Wrestling. He lost pretty much a squash to Finn Balor. Not a bad match, but it was pretty much one-sided. I mean, DJZ, I just don't see where he catches momentum right now. There's so many people above the food chain. But they had to sacrifice someone to Finn Balor, and tonight it was Joaquin Wilde. Shayna Baszler cutting the promo on Shotzi Blackheart. And as I said at the beginning of the show, Shotzi Blackheart, for those that don't know, almost at the same time that we had the tampon thing with Priscilla Kelly, she was selling pictures of her shit online for $5. I thought it was pun intended, I thought it was bullshit, but I went online and it was reported everywhere that she was selling pictures of her excrement for $5. I wonder how many she sold. I wonder if anybody would ever have the balls to interview her and say, how many pictures did you sell? Did you get any weird requests? Did anybody ask you maybe to take an X-Lax beforehand for an extra $10? Maybe have a little bit of Taco Bell, some chimichangas, maybe eat a little bit of too much of something. I don't know. Anyway, but, I'll say this again. I said it on one of the other shows not too long ago. Shayna Baszler is awesome. I know some of you are picking her to win the Women's Royal Rumble, and I will talk about Lee Madden, no news yet on Killer Cross. There's some negotiations going on, but, you should hear something very, very soon, sooner than later. And by the way, I might as well throw this out here right now. There's still no, new news as far as, the rumors that you're hearing about AEW, having some new signings. The latest one that the buzz is about is Lance Archer, who you knew is Lance Hoyt. He's currently in New Japan, and I think he's doing a tour of the U.S., but there's rumors that he may be negotiating with AEW. As I said a week ago, that I believe that within 6 months, you're going to have two very big names signed with AEW. I'm not saying, well, I am saying it. Lance Archer, to me, is not a big name. He's very talented, had a great 2019, but I'm talking about more of household names. And believe it or not, I was going to wear my Brody Lee shirt tonight. I don't even know if I would put him as a top name in that caliber. Maybe. But I changed it to the Jericho because of all the fans serenading Judas on the ship. I thought it was the right thing to do. Dean Malenko is the man of 1,000 holds. You'll realize very quickly I'm the man of 1,000 shirts. So I got some doozies on the horizon. I probably won't wear any political shirts because I don't want to piss anybody off. But I will be whipping out some shirts. People will be like, oh, that's cool. If Rusev had cool shirts, I'll make sure I have cooler shirts out there. But, Lance Archer, we don't know. Brian Cage, obviously, we heard the rumors about as well. But, once I get news, concrete news, I'll give you some more on that. But, so as I was saying earlier, last week, Shotzi Blackheart eliminated Shayna Baszler in that Rumble, that Battle Royal. And Shayna Baszler tonight got her revenge on Shotzi Blackheart. I've said this before, and I don't want to upset anybody, but you look at Shayna Baszler's face, and she's got that babyish look to her. I think some of you out there know what I'm talking about, but I said, you know what she looks like? And I'm sorry if this offends anybody. It's just me trying to be funny and joking around. You ever see like when a child is missing and might be missing for like 10 years or 15 years, and they show on TV with that fucking guy, and it'll be like, this is what Joshua would look like in 2020. And they use like this age progression software where they take like a 6-year-old and put him like a 20-year-old. But for some reason with the age progression software, it still always leaves like a lot of baby features on the face. That's what Shayna Baszler looks like. She looks like they took like a picture of a 5-year-old, ran it through this age progression software, and it's what she looks like now, but you got all like the baby cheekbones and stuff like that. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but she looks like a child. I mean, and I'm not saying that against her. I fucking love Shayna Baszler. I have no problem if she wins the Women's Royal Rumble. I will give my predictions on Friday, though, on that Q&A right after SmackDown. I want to see if any additional matches are added, and plus we don't talk Raw and SmackDown on here. Few of you wanted me to talk about what CM Punk said about the Royal Rumble, and I will because it involves an NXT wrestler, but we'll get into that a little bit later. During the match with Shotzi Blackheart and Shayna Baszler, though, Shayna Baszler throws some awesome knees sometimes. She nailed a knee to Shotzi Blackheart's head when Baszler was outside the ring that looked sweet. She is drastically improved over the last 2 years. Shayna Baszler is, I wouldn't say that, everybody tries to talk about, like wrestlers who could be the equivalent of China. I know a lot of you out there immediately bring up Tessa Blanchard, but I honestly think if there was anybody that I can compare who could be what China was a while ago, and look, China was a trailblazer because you didn't have a lot of women beating up men at the time and actually having matches with men, but I honestly think Shayna Baszler would probably do, there's none against Tessa Blanchard, but I think Shayna Baszler would possibly do an even better job at beating the fuck out of men than Tessa Blanchard. I don't know if a lot of you agree with that, but I just see it. I'm like, she would be this generation's China. That makes us feel old, right? This generation's China. But Shayna Baszler is awesome. So anyway, they announced next week it's going to be Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. Next, we had Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, the Broserweights. They advanced to the finals. They defeated Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel in a semifinal match. Great match. The ending was a lot of fun. At one point, I was a little concerned thinking that Imperium could possibly win this. And then I'm thinking to myself, Imperium versus grizzled young veterans. Seriously. I mean, it's just like if I was drinking water at the time and they would have gotten the pin, and my immediate reaction would have been like grizzled young veterans versus Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel. Been like, are you kidding me? Gross. So Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, I want those son of a bitches to be tag champs. I know this is not for belts, but they give me the same feeling I had with Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. How many of us thought that Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic were going to win the tag titles? Whatever happened. So honestly, I think Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne being tag team champs in NXT, I think that would be a pretty fucking awesome thing to happen down the line. Makes me wonder if Undisputed Era is going to start losing all their gold. Not obviously within a week or two, but I wonder if they start losing their belts. I want to see Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne as NXT tag champs. But they advanced to the finals, and then we had the main event, Keith Lee winning the NXT North American title, defeating Roderick Strong. Again, I'm really happy that Imperium did not get involved or even come out during that match. It's a really bad comparison. But one of my most memorable matches to watch on regular TV, cable TV, Monday Night Wars, Wednesday Night Wars, was obviously Mick Foley winning the heavyweight title, on Raw, when WCW and Shivani gave out the results, that'll put us in his seats. But, I remember at the time when that happened, you had jackasses were like, well, D-Generation X got involved and this and that, and there was a chair shot and blah, 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 blah. And like, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the moment. So I really did not want to deal with assholes on social media. We're going to say, well, Keith Lee won, but, Imperium distracted and this and that. So I'm glad. It was a great match. I mean, I want to see a rematch. I hope to God they don't take this belt off of Keith Lee in a couple of weeks. I think Undisputed Era, there's going to be a big shift in that team as the storyline progresses, in my opinion, in the next couple of weeks. They can't always all have gold. Something is going to go down. I don't know yet. It hasn't, really caught on in my mind what I think, but something is going to be happening. By the way, my pants are all wet right now, but it's club soda, so it doesn't stain. And plus I didn't plan on going in the show say, hey, I'm going to spit club soda all over myself. And if I would have done that on audio, it would have been pretty stupid. People would be like, what the hell is that sound in the background? But, Roderick Strong and Keith Lee obviously really gel nicely in the ring. I want to see some return matches between the two. I don't know how many we'll get. Maybe we'll just get one. But Keith Lee is now the North American Championship. I read the articles, and a lot of you out there that follow Keith Lee know, the struggle to get to WWE. And this was a great moment tonight, and I swear on God, and it's probably easy for me to say being a white Italian guy, but him winning the title tonight, it did not cross my mind until I read somebody write it. But I was happy that he won the belt. Had nothing to do with his skin color. Like people out there immediately go, oh, they're doing this because of what happened with ACH. And now all of a sudden, Bianca Belair, getting it. Sometimes people are just talented and good and deserving. it's not always because of skin color, gender, sexual orientation. You know, it's sometimes people just are good and they deserve the spot. I know You Deserve It is way overly used, you know, these days, but I don't think there's no denying Keith Lee winning that title. Motherfucker definitely deserved it. And speaking of Keith Lee, I did see WWE backstage, and I'm going to just say this. Anybody out there that dares say that Paige looks ugly, you're either jealous as fuck about her and either whack off or play with yourself, whether you're male or female, or you're just looking to be tweet fucked. There are goofs that I remember going back to grammar school that sometimes when they want to get a girl's attention is not by giving her flowers or being a secret admirer or writing on her desk or putting a little piece of paper in her bag or, you know, giving her a little compliment. You look nice today. No, sometimes they will berate the person, make fun of them, pull their pigtails, throw a pencil at them, say something nasty because that's their only way of getting attention. Anybody out there that says anything negative about Paige's looks, you're either jealous as fuck or you are desperately trying to get her attention. Even if she curses you out and says you're a miserable person, I guarantee when you see that tweet back, even if it's an insult, you'll be whacking off in the other room. She's gorgeous. And, you know, I've defended her. And, you know, some of the things she did in the past were, you know, not good. The belt thing was terrible, but my God, people do grow up. But anyway, CM Punk. He wants Keith Lee to win the Royal Rumble. He says Keith Lee should win the Royal Rumble. Now, I'll be honest with you, after him telling Miz to go eat a dick, this is just the way I feel right now. I don't give a fuck what CM Punk says right now. I don't even think WWE hyped CM Punk's appearance on WWE Backstage this week. I don't recall them ever advertising. They could have. I just didn't pay attention. The guy just comes off as a bitter bitch right now. All right, I don't care. Unless Miz did something absolutely egregious to him recently, that this man, I mean, to bring up Saudi Arabia when it's not just Miz going to Saudi Arabia, it's Vince McMahon, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, and about 50 other people on the WWE roster, and women included. And the fact to even say that is just, this guy, you know, for someone who doesn't pay attention to wrestling anymore and is just taking Fox gig as a paycheck, what a bitter bitch. You know, tweet and delete. You know, I'd rather tweet something and then, you know, eat my words and take the lumps. But, you know, the tweet and delete something like that, the fact that that was on his mind in the first place, to me, is terrible. Oh, and, I'll wait for Friday because I have a follow-up regarding the whole Triple H Page thing. Because some people didn't like my take on it last week, but we'll save that for Friday. I have something to say about that. And when I say what I say, I guarantee everybody shuts up and says nothing else about it. But so I really don't give a fuck who CM Punk thinks should win the Royal Rumble. Do I think Keith Lee should win the Royal Rumble? No, absolutely not. Keith Lee is my favorite wrestler on the NXT roster. I am ecstatic that the guy won the North American title tonight. But if anybody knows about WWE's history, you know, they very, very rare do they take someone and hotshot them to the moon. People forget that even when Daniel Bryan, when he did the whole Yes movement and Hijack Raw and everything else, people forget about the bullshit that happened, you know, with Randy Orton, you know, a little bit earlier. You know, it wasn't just, oh my God, look at all the attention he's gotten, heavyweight championship. You know, they like to fuck around. Even Kofi, you know, people remember with Kofi, you know, we knew, and I said all along, they're just taking a scenic route. He's going to, you know, main event Mania. People started thinking that when New Day was cutting these promos that maybe we don't belong here and this and that. People actually buying into it, reporting it as news. No, that's called just taking a scenic route in the storyline, you know. But with Keith Lee, I mean, does anybody in their right mind think that because he had an awesome showing in the Survivor Series, and because he's really popular in NXT, that all of a sudden he's going to win the Royal Rumble and go on to challenge someone at WrestleMania for a title. Look at the NXT ratings. Let's see what happens next week when Keith Lee is the North American champion. Let's see if he could pop a rating. You know, I personally think you take your time with Keith Lee. The guy is not going to retire in a couple of weeks. The guy has a long career ahead of him, barring injury or personal fuck-up or career decision. But Keith Lee, to me, you think all of a sudden he's going to leap over a whole bunch of people on the WWE roster? No. So me, as much as I would love for him to win the Royal Rumble, it is way too soon, man. It's way too soon. You know, if you really think about it, and remember, this is WWE we're talking about here. There ain't no way that they're going to put a whole bunch of other people on the back burner simply because Keith Lee's getting a lot of buzz online. If that was the case, a lot of other people should have won the Royal Rumble the last couple of years. So we got to wait a little while. No rush with Keith Lee. You know, I always say, you know, there's no need to blow their load. They don't need to rush it that quick. But as far as who I want to see win, tune in Friday for the Q&A. We'll have some fun with that. Now, just wrap up some NXT news, and this is more, you know, UK, and we'll talk about Worlds Collide. Jazzy Gabbert, gone from NXT UK. In is Aoife Valkyrie? Is that how you pronounce the name? My friends overseas, is that how you pronounce the name? Aoife Valkyrie? She's one half of the Woke Queens with Debbie Keitel. She signed with NXT UK. Jazzy Gabbert did an interview over the weekend, and she said the reason why she left WWE NXT is because over the last bunch of months, I don't have the info in front of me, but just to, you know, summarize, over the last bunch of months, she's had a lot of opportunities take place outside of wrestling, and she's not getting that many opportunities within WWE NXT UK. She's 37 years old, so she had to make a career decision, and she decided to go in a different path. So there was no falling out, but Jazzy Gabbert is gone from NXT UK. For those out there that are saying who, if you don't follow NXT UK, you know, just Google it. So, but Worlds Collide is going to take place in Houston, Texas. Some of you during the show tonight, I see you're asking me for my predictions, so I'll give you a few. For the NXT Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley defending the title against Toni Storm. Rhea Ripley's going to retain. I don't even think that's a question. It's going to be interesting to see Toni Storm and how her character develops here in the United States. I see good things for her, but right now Rhea Ripley retains. For the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, Jordan Devlin versus Travis Banks versus Isaiah Swerve Scott and Angel Garza. I think Angel Garza will retain that title without a doubt. Imperium, which is Walter, Fabian Aichner, Marcel Barthel, and Alexander Wolf taking on the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. I think Imperium may get the win. I almost feel that they need to maybe tease a little bit of dissension within Undisputed Era, that they're not on the same page. So I'd like to see Imperium get the win there. You had Dragunov versus Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor's got to take that. Tyler Bate and Trent Seven versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I think Trent Seven needs to pin, in my honest opinion. I think Gargano and Ciampa advance. And you have a dark match advertised, Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray. As much as I would love to see Mia Yim get that win, I think Kaylee Ray gets the win. Yes, Joseph, Jazzy was alpha female in TNA. I don't think anybody was wondering who she was. It was, you know, who I was talking about earlier with the Angels, but Aoife Valkyrie. So, but anyway, I want to mention this too because I don't talk about it a lot, and you know, it's a promotion I know some of you follow out there. You know, Bea Priestley and Jamie Hayter, you know, two names that I don't understand why AEW is not using them more. Obviously, they're in Japan right now. They actually won the Goddess of Stardom Championship. They defeated the Tokyo Cyber Squad over the weekend. It was at the Stardom 9th anniversary show from Tokyo. Rina and Ruaka over Leo Onozati and Hina. AZM defeats Zoe Sky and Starlight Kid. Saki Kashima, Natsuko Tora, and Natsu Sumire over Saya Ida, Saya Kamitani, and Itsuki Hoshino. Yes, I speak Japan now. That's courtesy of the History Show. I kind of get the Japanese names now. Man, I would butcher them before. I used to feel bad for all my Japanese listeners. It'd be like, this fucking guy, he don't know how to pronounce nobody. He terrible. He garbage. Don Tony, you suck. You don't know. Learn how to talk Japan. Tom Nakano over Kagetsu. See, now I fucked up. Anyway, 6-woman tag match. You had Julia, Maika, and Sayuri Kondo over Hana Kimura, Death Yamasan, and Layla Hirsch. For the Wonder of Stardom Championship, Arisa Hoshiki retains, defeating Utami Hayashishita. And for the World of Stardom Championship, Mayu Iwatani retains, defeating Momo Watanabe. Yes, I do have notes in front of me. You think I remembered all this stuff? I ain't fucking Forrest Gump. Anyway, NWA Power this week. This is all the setup, their Hard Times event. I thought it was Saturday. It's airing Friday. I'm doing the Q&A. I already advertised it, so I'm going to have to watch NWA Power either over the weekend or next week. For anybody out there that did not see NWA Power this week, you know, they had some matches to basically fill out the television championship tournament. As I predicted last week, we were going to get some names coming out of Ring of Honor for this title because they had those 2 wild card names. So I'll get into the matches in a moment, and I'll get into some quick predictions. I really didn't get a chance to talk about it all that much, but they had a last chance gauntlet match to qualify in the TV tournament. It was Kenny Anderson winning it, beating Josephus, Dave Dawson, Caleb Conley, Saranaro, C.W. Anderson, Aaron Stevens, and Colt Cabana. Now, at the end of the match, we had Kenny Anderson turn on Colt Cabana. They were the final 2. Kenny Anderson basically got the pin and then low-blowed Colt Cabana. But for anybody out there that did not get a chance to watch NWA Power, if there was any reason to tune in, this is what went down in that last chance match.
The question is, the Mongolian Spike, it's all Mongolian Spike, accidentally connecting with Aaron Stevenson. He's paralyzed.
One Mongolian Spike destroys people, but 2?
That fucking guy is hilarious, man. I think he, WWE, man, Damian Sandow went, not far enough. He is probably my favorite wrestler in NWA Power right now. He's so fucking funny. And, I know that spot is a little bit over the top, but I watched that earlier today. And it's like, if I don't put that clip on, something's wrong here. But you had Thunder Rosa over Tasha Steelz, Trevor Murdoch over Thomas Latimer to qualify for the tournament. In a no DQ match, Allison Kay over Marty Bell. The match I said to qualify, Kenny Anderson getting the win. And you had Nick Aldis retain his NWA World Heavyweight title, defeating Ricky Morton. It was more of a gaga match. I don't think anybody out there expects Ricky Morton to be 80s Ricky Morton, even though he is not embarrassing himself. You weren't going to see any major changes, but they did announce that Matt Cross and Danny Moff are going to be in this tournament. And as I said last week, wouldn't it be something if somebody from Ring of Honor wins that TV title and brings the belt to Ring of Honor? I know I am going to royally get these predictions wrong, but for the Hard Times event, Nick Aldis versus Flip Gordon, NWA versus Ring of Honor interpromotional match, I think Nick Aldis has to win that. Allison Kay, I believe, loses the NWA Women's Championship to Thunder Rosa. I probably want that title change, even though I don't know if it's really going to happen. Aaron Stevens I believe, will retain the NWA National Championship, defeating Scott Steiner. You know, I hope there's just no, you know, clusterfuck with the question mark. And I think question mark versus Aaron Stevens for that title may end up happening down the line. Rock and Roll Express, I think it's time for them to lose the belts. They're taking on James Storm and Eli Drake as well as the wild cards. I have no problem with James Storm and Eli Drake winning those tag titles. Now, as far as the TV tournament goes, I believe Tim Storm will beat Kenny Anderson. Ricky Starks will, I believe, beat Matt Cross. And then we will have, you know, in my opinion, Tim Storm versus Matt Cross. I think Tim Storm advances to the final. On the other side of the tournament, Zicky Dice versus Danny Moff. I tell you, man, Danny Moff, Danny Moff and Zicky Dice are the two names that are really sticking out for me right now. I don't know if they would put the belt on Zicky Dice yet. I just am fascinated with the storyline idea of a Ring of Honor wrestler bringing that belt back to Ring of Honor. So I will go against the grain just for the fun of it, and I will say Danny Moff beats Zicky Dice to advance. You have the question mark defeat Trevor Murdoch. That will leave Danny Moff versus question mark. I think Danny Moff beats the question mark, and then you have Danny Moff versus Tim Storm for the final, and I think Danny Moff wins it, brings the belt to Ring of Honor. That's just me fantasy booking. And by the way, since I have said so many things that AEW needs to do that they have done, coincidentally, I think AEW, it's time you create a secondary title. There needs to be another belt, a singles belt, besides Jericho. It's time. It's time. Maybe you don't do it for the February pay-per-view, but shortly after that, you need to announce some tournament for some singles title. I don't know if it's a TV title, but we need another title. I think a lot of you remember back in the day with TNA. That's how far back we go. Remember Breakfast with Blassie? TNA, you need a secondary title. What the fuck are you doing? That's how far back it goes. So anyway, Marty Scurll is going to be appearing, I think January 26th for the TV tapings for NWA. So for those that are looking forward to seeing Marty Scurll back, I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what happens with Hard Times. Very curious. I want to mention this. I know some of you out there probably won't like what I'm about to say, but Gilbert is going to be retiring. He's having his last match at the end of February 28th, in Glen Burnie, Maryland. His opponent will be James Ellsworth. I know a lot of you out there are still poo-pooing all over James Ellsworth because of the allegations of the photos. Look, I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the complete truth is. There's been a couple of different explanations as far as what went down. All I know is Gilbert, he had his moments. And interesting that he chose James Ellsworth as his last opponent before retiring. But for those that live in the Maryland area, you might want to check that out. For those who live around Philly, Mish, MLW is going to be at the former ECW Arena on February 1st. They announced Conan is going to be there. For MLW Fusion, this weekend, I think they have a Mance Warner versus Jimmy Havoc in a no ropes barbed wire match. Drago and Puma King versus Taurus and Lowrider versus Injustice. Low Key versus Chandler Hopkins. And some more announced. I know a lot of you out there want my thoughts on the whole Conan Psychosis 2 incident. I'm going to just say it like this. This happened in Mexico. For those that don't know, at an Impact Wrestling, I guess, taping in Mexico. And I don't want to give out any spoilers, but we did have a title change go down that you will be seeing very, very shortly. I don't want to give any spoilers away. But at the Impact Wrestling taping on Friday, Psychosis 2, not the original Psychosis, not El Nicho and Millonario. Psychosis 2 basically showed up at the Impact taping with a few different guys, confronted Conan, and was filming it and slapped him. And all I'm going to say is that Conan went on his podcast with Disco Inferno and someone else, and he told this whole side of the story. Basically, there's a lot of bad blood for quite some time, but I think personally for Psychosis too, because he doesn't like that he hasn't been booked the right way. And Conan tells a great story about the original Psychosis feuding with this second generation Psychosis, whatever you want to call him. And, this Psychosis, I don't like that AAA or these promotions use the same gimmick for another wrestler later on. I understand because it was so popular, you want to keep it for another decade or two. They did that with La Parka. Yes, we had the falling out with La Parka, and then he became L.A. Park. But, I don't like that you put another Psychosis under the mask. Because, this fake Psychosis, as I prefer to call him, he thinks his shit don't stink. He thinks he's a superstar. He thinks he's not being utilized the right way. And he slaps a 60-year-old man in the face, records it, tries to sell it to media. Nobody fucking wanted to give him money for it, so he leaks it out online, and then they blur his face out. As far as I'm concerned, this guy's a pussy. He's a piece of shit. And it has nothing to do because of my, background with Conan and everything that happened. It's just, the guy's a punk. And when you hear the stories about why this guy isn't used in a lot of places, the guy almost feels like he committed career suicide just now. You really think I don't even know how to explain it. It's terrible what happened. I'm not saying that Conan is a saint, but this guy slapping, he's a fucking asshole, my opinion. Nothing personal, but I saw that and I'm like, you proud of yourself? I mean, what did you accomplish there? You got your frustration out? I disagree with it. It was terrible. Two interesting interviews you might want to check out online. Chris Van Vley did an interview with Vampiro. Vampiro getting a little bit of buzz because he said without Lucha Underground, AEW may not be in existence because of the buzz yearning for an alternative. I wouldn't put it as cut and dry, but I guarantee you, fans buzzing about Lucha Underground like they did might have sparked Tony Khan and some others thinking like, yeah, fans really do want some type of an alternative. So, it's not a bad interview. I'd suggest you go check it out. And Chris Statlander. Yeah, we had our fun last week with the Statlander two-step. Unfortunately, I can't share with everyone the thing I posted on Twitter earlier, for everyone to do the Swalamonte. Big Swal and Diamante had a match last week on AEW Dark. I actually didn't have any problem with the match. But there was one, minute in the match, the closing minute in the match, where it looked like they were doing horrible dance moves. And, anybody that goes back with me a long ways, that, in 1990, I was embarrassed by a girl in a club, made fun of me dance. I never danced ever again. Never. I've danced a slow song here and there, but I've never, ever danced ever again. But back in 1988, when me and my friends would, drink and, take some things and be in a club, and we would just like do karate moves and kick each other and think we were dancing. The ending of Big Swal versus Diamante reminded me of me and my friends drunk and on acid in 88. So if you want to laugh, Twitter.com/DonTonyD, @DonTonyD, and you can see what I put online. I did it a little as a goof. I wanted to put it on here. The problem is that I am realizing now I'm getting a crash course about copyrights and YouTube. Never in a million years did I ever expect YouTube to tell me that I can't play the 45-year-old disco song on YouTube that opens up Don-O-Mite. That's why I had that alternate entrance today. They put a flag to copyright on it. I actually contacted the record company over a week ago and I said, look, I'd like to use this, 45 seconds of my intro. I sent them everything. They still haven't gotten back to me. So I'm going through all this bullshit for 45 seconds of a 45-year-old disco song. But the song that I played with the Big Swall Diamante match from AEW Dark. I went online again, and they're like, no, you have to get permission from this record company. So I contacted the record company earlier today. I'm like, I want to use this one time for a 30-second clip on my podcast. Oh, you need to fill this out. I'm like, could you just give me an idea how much it'll cost? If it's like $20, $50, it might be worth it. I have to go through this whole fucking process. I'm like, fuck you. Seriously. Unbelievable. And that's the funny thing, too. This is why I'm getting like really a crash course on YouTube. Was it E-Town Concrete? Let's celebrate that we don't give a fuck. Is that the group? They actually love the fact that we play that intro on Monday nights for our show at times. Even though they love it, and even though they're the performance of it, I need to get licensing permission from their record company. They can't send a private message or a direct message to YouTube and say, no. It's okay. They can use it. Don't work that way. So, when people say, oh, how come you're not playing this? I can't. So, anyway, but as I was saying, we had some fun about Chris Statlander last week with the Statlander two-step. She did a pretty cool interview with Alicia Tout online. It took place this past week. If you want to get to know Chris Statlander a little bit more, go check it out online. You'll learn a lot of things about her, especially her stunt career, because she was a stunt woman. She probably still is. And, it's definitely worth checking out. Absolutely. So, now, Tessa Blanchard, look, I did a whole rant on last Monday's DTKC show. There's not much for me to add to it, but I definitely want to share this with everybody. She posted a statement, as far as the allegations that were made against her. And for those that are interested, she posted this online, as you could see. She said, and I quote, over the last week, I've been accused of calling a fellow wrestler a racial slur. To read this allegation has been personally upsetting. To be clear, I absolutely did not use that word. The word is not in my vocabulary. That word is not in my heart. Racism is not in my heart. Yet I know many people have to deal with racism in a way I'll never have to. Racism is an awful part of American history, and it's equally awful that it's still part of our society today. While I did not do what was claimed, I stand ready to use my platform to support the fight against racism however I can. I'm a little surprised how long it took for that statement to come out. I have read online some people that are trying to guess, saying that, her opponent was La Rosa Negra. So some people are saying, well, maybe she said negra. And some people thought maybe she said something else. All I know is I wasn't there, you weren't there, and a lot of other people weren't there. I don't know what's the truth. I don't know if La Rosa Negra heard it wrong. I don't know if Tessa maybe said it in the heat of the moment and didn't realize it. I don't know what's the truth. It's he said, she said, and there are some women out there, because they absolutely hate Tessa, that are on a mission. There's that one chick, what is her name, Sienna? Jesus Christ, she fucking hate. I mean, I understand her bitter hatred for Tessa Blanchard, but this woman is like, she wants to knife her. I don't mean physically, but it's just like, my God, this, oh, I got text messages that Tessa's trying to dig up dirt on me. I mean, it's like, she just wants everything publicly. Like I said, a lot of these women are eating each other from within. It's just, you could see that some people use social media as a revenge tool. If Tessa Blanchard said that, it is disgusting. There is no excuse for it. There's nothing to justify it. People do make mistakes. Sometimes people, and I'm not defending her, sometimes people say things, not because they're racist, but because sometimes they want to insult the other person. And it's ignorance. And I said last Monday, how many of you out there, you don't have to admit it publicly, how many of you out there have been driving and somebody cuts you off and you're so pissed off about it, you pull up to the person and you look at them and you see that they're a certain ethnic group or a certain race, and the first thought to your mind is you're going to say something about their race or ethnic color because you think that is going to piss them off the most. I talked about when I used to go to clubs back in the 80s and the 90s, when you had these Jersey Shore wannabes that wanted to do everything to impress women. You had people that would say things that would go against their manlyhood. Not because they hated gays, but because they wanted to maximize the insult on the other person. It doesn't justify any of it. But not every person that says it because they have a bitter hatred for someone who's gay or someone who's black or someone who's white or someone who's this. All I'm saying is that, to use social media as a revenge tool, like finally we got this person, calling someone a racial slur, that's lowest of the low. But, being on a mission to just use social media as a revenge tool, I'm not too high on these other people as well. I think La Rosa Negra, and I said this last Monday, I never knew anything about her, and I am a fucking fan of her because she just said point blank, I don't want this attention. I moved on. I leave it with God. I mean, people don't always need to tweet about it, Facebook about it, Instagram, make a statement. Sometimes you just let shit go. I mean, yeah, the person is a piece of shit for doing you wrong, but sometimes you just turn the other cheek and be the better person about it. It's not always eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Matt Riddle, like I said last Monday, what he said about, the eye for an eye stuff, I mean, I have said, a lot of disdain towards Matt Riddle personally in the past, but man, he had the best quote of the week. There's a lot of shit going on, but I wanted to share with you her statement because I thought it was fair that I bring it out there. About Tessa Blanchard winning the belt, because a lot of people found it very interesting of what he had to say. He didn't focus on the race part of it all, but he focused more on the decision of Impact Wrestling putting the belt on her. There's a lot of you are telling me, yeah, go ahead, go for it. I mean, it's only a couple of minutes. It's not that long. We'll share Booker T, what he had to say. And then I guess maybe we'll close it out talking a little bit about Enzo and Tama Tonga, that fucking feud that doesn't want to end. But for those that are interested, Booker T on his Hall of Fame podcast had some very, very interesting comments to say about Tessa Blanchard. So here you go.
And I was talking to Brad about Impact Wrestling got banned from Twitch. Impact Wrestling now on Access TV.
Right, yeah, they made the jump.
Yeah. And I tell you, man, I actually got a chance to watch a little bit of it last night. And very little. Very, very little. And it just was something that, I don't know, man, I don't know. Those guys seem like they're just trying to find their spot, man. It seems like they're still trying to find a niche. And now what do you think about the world title, the World Heavyweight Championship, the men's title?
Yeah. The title traditionally held by the top guy in the company.
Yeah. Now the woman, Tessa Blanchard has the championship. What do you think about that?
So I will say this: I haven't watched Impact Wrestling. I didn't see the storyline that built up to this. So I'm going in it with just knowing Tessa Blanchard won the world title.
Yeah.
And it's a little odd. My thing. For a long time, I don't like the intergender wrestling. It's not something that I get into. I know some people like it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Not something that I like.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I'm not totally in love with the idea. I will say I withhold judgment, I guess, until I can see the whole segment and figure out how they got to this part of the story and what the catalyst was for her winning.
Yeah.
But off top, it's not something I'm super receptive.
I'm not holding my judgment on it. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, big ups to Tessa Blanchard because she's good. She's really good at what she does. But this is the worst idea that Impact Wrestling ever had in the history of their company.
That's saying something.
It really is. It's really that bad. It's that bad.
Why is it bad?
It's worse than paying me 10 grand for a 6-hour Power commercial that never aired. It really, I'm serious. That's how ridiculous it is.
Why is it a bad idea?
Because now the men and all of the men in the company, if they wrestle her and she beat them, it diminishes every guy in the company. I mean, who's the top guy in the company now? I cannot see the man Becky Lynch wrestling Samoa Joe
or Brock
Lesnar. I mean, This is the worst idea in the history of wrestling. It really is. And to throw it out there like that is the only way it can really be thrown out. And it makes me question and wonder, if somebody trying to, blow this thing up on purpose. It's like somebody say, man, let's see how bad we can mess this up. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious.
So okay, let me just make sure you're saying it's because there needs to still be separation between the divisions.
It's got to be. It's always got to be.
There top woman and there can be a top guy, but they shouldn't be crossing.
Well, my thing is this. Okay, if Tessa Blanchard go back and wrestle the women, she should be able to beat all of them. Now, the woman that beat her should be able to go out and beat the men too. The crossover intergender wrestling is something that's for independent companies. Okay, if they want to be looked at as an indie group, keep doing stuff like this.
And shouldn't it be more if you do it? Shouldn't it be more in almost a attraction perspective, meaning like somewhere on the card if you're going to do an intergender match, but not your main event for a title?
Like I said, whoever thought of the idea, or came up and thought that this was a good idea, and this is changing, wrestling, and it's. I don't think this is what empowering women is. What it really was meant to be. You know what I mean? I really don't think so, because I'm not saying Ronda Rousey is not a tough woman, but you put Ronda Rousey in there with John Jones and watch what happened to her. You put her in there with the lower level men and watch what happened to her. Or Amanda Nunes with the top. You don't want to start playing with those and blurring those type of lines. Right. When it comes to performance, especially when a man and a woman these days, normally when a man hit a woman, he goes to jail. Okay, and I don't want to see no man trying to put their hands on my sisters. All right, even as tough as my sisters are, I'm not finna have that. And to actually see it play out and someone think that this is a good idea for television, for a man and a woman to be fighting, it's ridiculous.
Do you think it sends the wrong message?
It sends, you know what, people can look at it and say what they want to say about it, but for me, it's not something that I would ever have on my reality of wrestling. And people can say, oh man, he's outdated, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not that at all. I'm looking at it I look at what I do, what I've done in this business as a performance, but I try to make it as realistic as possible. I've never seen a female boxer wrestle fight a male boxer. I've never seen a female wrestler. Now in tennis, I've seen it. But
it's not a physical contact sport.
Exactly, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I would take Roger Federer. I think over Serena Williams. I mean, I'm serious. I really would. I'm serious. Or the top, Novak Djokovic. Okay, let's say Novak. I take Novak over Serena Williams just because the guy's he's overpowering, and that's what normally happens in a fight between a man and a woman. Stick around. More Hall of Fame. Back in a minute.
You know what's interesting about all of that? Now, look, you can't compare what Sandman said to Booker T. But all these women that talk about how, they deserve their spot and this and that, you had nobody come out to confront Booker T about this. And you know why? Because the person that he's talking about, they don't like either, Tessa Blanchard. That's what I found very interesting about it. But yeah, Booker T looks fucking jacked, and I think Harlem Heat versus Revival and Mania may in fact happen. But, yeah, you notice how no woman accused Booker. I don't think Booker T is sexist in any way. I think he makes some very valid points there. But, you know, how many people out there, when you question women wrestling men, and you had some women that would immediately confront Booker T, not a peep. Not a peep. By the way, Booker T was on the Jericho cruise, and some people asked him, you know, like, how could you be on the cruise if you work for WWE? He says, I go whatever the fuck I want. It's true. He didn't say it exactly that way, but I just found it interesting. You know, the people who were so fucking outraged. How dare you say that men can't wrestle, women can't wrestle men and do that? Not one peep. So we're going to close this out in a moment. Rest in peace, Steve Gillespie. You know, a lot of you out there got a crash course on Dr. Luther, who showed up in AEW a couple of weeks ago. As bad as this sounds, if anybody started learning about Dr. Luther, you knew about him tag teaming with Dr. Hannibal. And they had some notorious feuds with Sabu. I don't know if he wrestled Rob Van Dam with Sabu. I think it was Sabu and the Sheik. They had some really big-time feuds, and they, you know, tore it up in FMW. Well, sadly, Dr. Hannibal, who was Dr. Luther's tag team partner, he died from a car accident, 56 years old. So rest in peace, Steve Gillespie. Last week I said I thought AEW would beat NXT in the ratings by 170,000. I was a little off. NXT won by 240. Well, actually, excuse me. AEW won by 240,000. AEW scored 940,000. NXT scored 700,000. For those who are going to ask me my predictions this week, I think AEW's rating goes down a little bit. I don't know if it's because it's a recorded show. Oh, God bless the people online saying, oh, their ratings are going down because a lot of their fans were on the boat. What do you think, there was 80,000 fans on the boat, you fucking nitwits? You're on the boat. The ratings are going to go down on the boat. Stupid. Anyway, I think AEW's rating goes down a tick. Like I said, their big draw right now is Moxley and Jericho. Not even close. That is the draw by far. Moxley winning, a lot of people already knew. A lot of people saw some of the spoilers. I prefer a live show over a recorded show. My viewing habits did not change tonight because it was pre-recorded. But I think, you know, Keith Lee's match got some attention. Like I said, nothing against some of the wrestlers in NXT, but I would change the channel and watch other things than to see the grizzled young veterans. Nothing against them, but I have zero interest in watching them right now. So if you ask me, I would say, if you wanted me to give you a quick prediction, I think AEW scores, I'd say 904,000, and NXT scores 737,000. Just, how's that? I'll give that as my ratings prediction. We'll see what happens. Now, just to close this out, we know that for a very long time right now, Tama Tonga and Enzo have been exchanging a lot of words online. The latest chapter happened once again, and I definitely, without a doubt, wanted to share video with this. First off, Tama Tonga, learn how to fucking turn your phone a different way. You know, when people used to say that to me, I was like, you know, what the fuck's the big deal? Now when I do these video clips, I understand why, you know, but, you know, they're trying to hype up the idea of having a match for charity. And look, I have nothing against Tama Tonga, but Tama Tonga, I not because Enzo gave me good luck on my engagement and all that, but I think Tama Tonga is just coming off right now as just a dick that can't move on. You know, it just, I think a lot of this is hype for fun. But the latest saga, they led to a challenge for charity. and I had a real big problem of one thing that Tama Tonga said. But I want to stream for you right now Tama Tonga's clip. It's only 35 seconds, straight and to the point, and then I want to share with you what Enzo had to say, and then I'll give you my quick thoughts about it. Here's what Tama Tonga had to say.
All right, Enzo, let's do this. Enough with the shit talking. Enough with your shadow boxing at the gym. You need to be practicing wrestling. All right, let's do this. How you want to do this? Wrestling match? You want a boxing match? What you want to do? Huh? What do you want to do? Shoot fight? How you want to do this? Let's do it. Any promotion who books this, whatever we raise, we'll put it to charity. Whatever charity the fans choose, that's what we put it on. That's the only way I'm going to do this match. If we put that money to charity. All right? Let's do it.
All right. Now, look, I go back to when Goldberg was on, what was it, Jay Leno? I'll put 100,000 of my money, Austin, on the line if you face me. Now, you look back at that. If Austin would have accepted it, what would have it been? A predetermined bout, or would it have been a shoot fight? When you think back to what Goldberg said on Jay Leno, and I'm a huge Goldberg fan, but when you look back on it, his challenge is so goofy because what does that even mean? Now, Tama Tonga saying this now, let's do this, whatever promoter books this, I mean, what is he actually, they're actually going to have a shoot fight? But I'll tell you why I have a problem with Tama Tonga. Because Enzo cut this response, and personally, nothing against Tama Tonga, but I think Enzo fucking owned him in this. This is what Enzo had to say about it.
Look who it is! It's the bottom of the totem pole. The good girl, Tama Tonga. Should the daughter of a village chief know not to wake at a rooster if you don't want to make her no eggs? I've been staring at the edge and I've wandered, long as I can remember, never really knowing why. I wish I could be the perfect daughter, but I come back a loser, no matter how hard I try. Every L I take, every tweet I track, every path I make, every road leads back to a place I know where I cannot go, the WWE. The daughter of a village chief, you couldn't even get in the WWE, you village idiot? Bro, your father is like a forefather in the wrestling business. And you are like the foreskin of a gun that shoots blanks. Oh, the Bullet Club is dead. I'd shit on Kenta. I'd WikiLeak on your brother. Neither one of them could hack it where I'm from. Ooh, that was a Donnie Moore low blow. You okay, Camacho? Okay. Okay, you want to play games? Okay, I'm reloading. Kenta, I wrestled you one-on-one in Japan for the largest wrestling promotion in the world. Not just in Japan, dumbass. You and your brother, Tama, look like doormen, okay? I ask you to take me to your leader. You take me to Kenta? All right, that's why, precisely, you mark-ass bitch, I wouldn't let you or any of the boisterous marks on Twitter that account for 10% of an entire wrestling population of fans dictate the terms to a match between you and I. That dictatorship you are stuck in must got to your fucking head. All right? Trigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers for real. I mean, you recently tweeted about a compliance lecture you received from New Japan, and I quote, to be a good guy, to do good, to be good, to now be known as the good guy, Tama Tonga. Bro, are you shitting me? Can pause for 1 second, hold that. Can you just imagine for 1 second another man trying to lecture me on the phone? Bro, yeah, I remember Monday nights. Okay, Vince, good luck. Hold my phone. Dude, Tama, you are as smooth as a side street in Harlem, okay? You try and trap me, put me in a corner, make me look like a bad guy. Dude, I'm on the corner, and I am the trap. And I ain't selling for you, and I don't work for nobody. You and I both know I got offered 25 grand for this match, and I turned it down. Now you want to turn around and give the bag to charity? Well, touche, bro. If you Google real one, my face pops up. I'm the realest guy in a room, and that ain't a work, it's a shoot. So, Josh Barnett, thank you so much for offering me your platform at Bloodsport, maybe for a more worthy opponent. But we talking about practice. We talking about practice. We talking about Tama Tampon Tango. If we're really gonna do this thing for charity, okay, it won't be on anyone's platform. I'm a G, all right? And that's why I got booked at MSG, trending #1 in the world over Bret Hart, the WWE Hall of Fame, G1 Classic, Ring of Honor, bro, what are we talking about? March Madness. Dude, I just called the venue directly that you're going to be at on April 2nd. They're going to give my brand a ring, a venue, a referee, tickets, okay? And any money I raise is going towards depression and suicide prevention. But make no mistake about it, the biggest charity I'm doing here is for Haku. Doing something that nobody else could do for him. And that's make one of his sons famous. You mark-ass bitch! How you doing?
Now, I don't have any other video from Tama Tonga, but his response to that is, no, you don't fucking pick the charity. The fans pick the charity. Now, I'm not trying to be an asshole over here, but if you actually think about that for a minute with Tama Tonga, what happens if you got fans that come up with 80 different charities? You know what I mean? It sounds great on paper. This guy wants to donate the money towards depression and suicide. And the best comeback that this fucking guy is, no. The fans come up with the charity. You know, I have nothing against Tama Tonga personally, but this guy, you know, he's talented. He's done good in Japan, but he just, seriously, bro, fucking, if this is, you know, all being set up for a Match Mania weekend and they're going to have this, fine. But when you say things like, oh, what do you want it to be? Wrestling match, shoot fight? It reminds me of Goldberg offering $100,000 to fight Austin. And when you think about it, we're predetermined. He wasn't challenging him to a shoot fight. It's just, it's stupid. It's moronic. And, you know, just get this over with already. Seriously, get it over with. But the fact that he said the fans picked the charity, it's just, when you actually think about it, it's so fucking lame. I mean, it's just ridiculous. By the way, Robert Swanson, thank you. Thank you. But that's pretty much it. I think we're done for tonight. Ran about 2 hours, a little bit over. Trust me when I tell you, I really wanted, my hardest to try to get this done in 90 minutes. We really need to chop this down a little bit, because if putting up audio was difficult before, video was even worse. Not only that, I got some complaints last week that people are listening to audio only. You know, when I was doing this with Chris Statlander, they're like, oh, we just hear dead air and we don't know what you're doing. And, you know, could you edit that out? And I told them, like, all right, you know, I'm going to try as much as possible not to do things that don't have sound with it. So I actually have to edit the audio shows more than I did in the past. But I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Believe me when I tell you, I'm trying to treat these Wednesday episodes every week like a pay-per-view, like a special event. I'm really, you know, new to this, and it will get better in time. Like I said, give me 2 months. I started this, a week ago? So give me until around the middle of March. And I think by then we'll have a much better idea as far as, you know, the way the show runs. By the way, I'll be filling up the behind me with a lot more little things and trinkets and stuff. I have a few things on order. I have a few people on the Jericho cruise who are sending me a couple of things to put over there. And I got some pretty awesome things that you're going to see. And people are going to be like, wow, that's so cool. So, yeah, Brian Long, I think 2 months is enough time. I mean, you know, I have so many things going on with real life, getting engaged. Matthew Rychecki, thank you, my friend. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But I definitely invite each and every one of you, send me your input. You could send me compliments. I'll always accept that. You could send me criticisms. Tell me what you want changed. Some people out there felt that I spent too much time on AEW, not enough on NXT. You know, some people will tell me, oh, you were doing this last Monday. And yes, that was all nerves. That was all nerves. And, you know, I listen to everybody. Never feel that you can't confront me. You know, there's so many people online that claim that they got thick skin, and the first asshole that, you know, gives them a criticism, they just rip them to shreds. They can't handle it. I welcome criticism, because if you see things that I don't see, if you see things that you don't like, that other people notice that I don't notice, you speaking out helps me fix it. So I welcome everybody. Leave your comments on YouTube. You could contact me on Twitter at DonTonyD. Don't forget, this Friday, 10:15 p.m., after WWE Smackdown, I'll be doing a live Q&A. We'll also do Royal Rumble predictions. And if the Q&A's had a great response so far, but if this goes really, really well, I think every other week we'll do a live Q&A. And you're more than welcome to send in questions. Just keep them short so I can get into as many as possible. And I have some more things on the horizon over here. Believe me, you know, it's not always going to be about wrestling, but I promise everybody out there, if I do other themed shows, I'll keep everything separate. You know, the biggest complaint that I've gotten, well, it's not really a complaint because I haven't done it yet. It's more of a request. People like, please leave Trump and politics alone on these. So I will keep those completely separate. But I definitely value your input. I appreciate all of your support. Everybody who supports me, and, you know, even people who send me some awesome contributions. And believe me, I always take those and put them right back in the show. You know, whether it's Patreon, non-Patreon. Like I said, because of all of you, some of you last week said, oh, you know, why don't you get the Brio? I got it. Nothing's too good for my friends out there listening. I'm out here, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. And I will catch you all again next Wednesday.